Hello and welcome to another Lord Splodge gaming review. In this episode we're going to take a look at Lords of Waterdeep from Wizards of the Coast, the Dungeons and Dragons themed worker placement game. Comes in a nice box. So let's have a look at what's inside the box and a quick overview of the rules. So this is the game Lords of Waterdeep. Now I've set it up as if a couple of turns have been taken, and we can tell this by the 1 and 2 victory point tokens have been taken off rounds 1 and 2. And in this case they've been placed on this building because we're assuming that a couple of these buildings have already been built. In this game, each person plays a faction, one of the many sort of clans, so the Silver Stars, the City Guard, the Knights of the Shield, the Red Sashes and the Harpers. And the overall aim of the game is to finish at the end of round 10 with the most victory points and therefore to be crowned the ultimate Lord of Waterdeep. Now you do this by completing quests and also following conditions on your respective Lord of Waterdeep. So at the start of the turn, each player is randomly issued one of these Lords of Waterdeep, and each one, when they're not upside down, has a victory condition. In this case, Ninol. They have silly fantasy names, but don't let that put you off. At the end of the game, you score 4 victory points for each piety quest and each skullduggery quest you completed. So there's a final scoring round at the end, so it's not always obvious to see who's going to win. And quests, well, they turn up at the top in this quest area, and each one has a reward for completing it. So this one gives you excuse me, 6 victory points and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 gold. But it needs 4 orange cubes or warriors and 2 black cubes or rogues and 2 gold. So what we'll do now is we'll have a look at how you can get these cubes and how in fact you determine who goes first. So first player is determined at the start by whatever random method of determining first player that you want, sort of rolling the dice or whatever. But after that, if you move one of your workers into this first player spot here, you'll get this token, and that means that you then on the next turn get to go first, and then it proceeds clockwise round the board. Each one of these spots, as you can see here, has place for 1 worker, say Castle Waterdeep there, or the Blackstaff Tower has 1, which gives you a purple cube, and the Fields of Triumphs, where you get warriors from, has 2, and as you can see there's quite a few that only have 1, but there are some, such as the Waterdeep Harbour here and the Cliffwatch Inn, where you get quests, has 3. That means if the first person on the Waterdeep Harbour gets to 1, second person goes into 2 and third player goes into 3. And that's important for the order of playing intrigue cards. It's first person plays theirs first and so on. With regards to the quest area, you can choose, because there's no numbers, so you can go on the left one, which you take a quest, put it in yours, and then take one from the quest pile to replace that. Or on the second one you can take a quest card and take a intrigue card into your hand from the intrigue deck. Or the final one lets you take a quest, but first you reset the quests. So what you do there is you take all 4 off, put them in the quest discard, and then put 4 new quests out. So here's a faction sheet. Let's say this is my player, and at the top I've got my agent pool. So at the start of my turn I'll have a number of agents depending on the number of players in here. This is where any people that I've collected from visiting places like Blackstaff Tower go. And at the bottom is where the completed quests go. Any completed quests go there. And I keep the intrigue cards and my Lord of Waterdeep at the bottom here. So this is what it looks like after I've been playing a few turns. I've got 3 purple and a couple of orange there. And let's say that I can play one of my quests. So at any point after I've placed a person on, I can go into the quest phase and I'm going to complete a quest. And that essentially involves returning the right number of cubes plus the right number of money. So let's say this one needs 2 money as well, and I also had 2 money in there, and I'd pay that. Boom boom, paid the money. And then complete the quest. Now in this case it's not matching the reward, the requirement, sorry, but it's just an example. And as you can see from, I have to get this in focus. As you can see here, I get 20 victory points reward and 1 intrigue token. So what I do then is round the outskirts of the game here is a victory point track. So I'd move mine, let's say the first quest we've done, so we'd be starting on 0. And we'd end up over here on 20. So each turn, everybody, going from whoever's got the first player token, places one of their agents. So I put mine down, and then it goes over to the next person in order, who places one of their agents. Once an agent's placed in a 1-player spot, nobody else can do it. But if you go to the Builder's Hall here, you then get to build a building which has a cost at the top, a reward for the owner. So if somebody of another colour other than black was to land on this, they'd get 2. And it's got in the Builder's Hall they have victory points that acquire, because each time a turn passes these get another victory point on each one. So this one's got actually got 4 victory points on it. So black would pay the cost, in this case 3 gold, put it in an available building slot. Now if all these building slots are full, then you can't build any more buildings. And then they would take a marker to mark it as theirs, so that's a black marker to go on it. And this now means that other people in their turn can put markers on that, so they get 1 white cube and take 1 face up quest. But if the blue landed on it, black would get the 2 gold. And then what we do is replace, once they've built it, you put another building down from the building pile here. And that's how the game goes. So each turn you go round, place 1 agent and then the next agent, and by the 5th round here, each player will take an additional agent off of the additional agent board there. So that would give them an extra go each. There's also 2 extra agents you can get to work for you, either from a quest or from a building, and they just go in your agent pool like so. If I've got both of them here, but you did act as an extra agent, so I'd place one and the other player would place one, and then I'd place one, and if the other player didn't have one, it'd come back to me and I'd place him on the board. So at the end of the game, when all 8 rounds have passed, we take a look at our Lord, and in this case we get 4 victory points for each Arcana and Commerce quest we've completed. So we take a look on our agent pool of any of the quests that we've got, and for each one that matches that we'd get the victory points. So we'd move these tokens additional, so I'd move, let's say mine, another 8 on the board, and then you'd look who's in first place and give them a pat on the back for winning. It's essentially a worker placement Euro style game, wrapped up in Dungeons and Dragons. It's easily playable. I've had friends of mine who've been able to play it with their partners who aren't normally into this kind of board game. So this sort of front cover on the box and the instruction manual, a very good instruction manual by the way. It's got not only clear, concise instructions, but it also has a appendix which has each one of the buildings and what they do. So it tells you what the ones on the board do, so you can look. It also tells you the ones that you can build, what they do. And finally it's got sort of some filler text, descriptive text of the agents and the lords, and a glossary at the back. It's what I like best, and more games should do this, is a complete rules reference at the back here. So not only does it tell you the number of agents you get, depending on the number of starting players, but what to do to set the game up, the sequence of play, the actions in a turn, and the final scoring. So that's a very good rule book. In fact, this is a very good game when all said and done. It's quality construction, quality kit, nice solid models. And the cubes are a little bit, I mean, they're supposed to be warriors and priests and fighters, and they're just coloured cubes. You can on the internet actually buy these from I don't know, the company's name escapes me, but essentially they just replace them with little men figures, which is actually quite nice. But that's Lords of Waterdeep. Well, I hope you enjoyed that review of Lords of Waterdeep, a sort of lightweight Euro worker style placement game. It's actually very enjoyable for people that like Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, I love Waterdeep, I love the whole Forgotten Realms setting, so it has value for me. But even if I didn't, the concept of worker placement and doing the quests and collecting is a interesting enough topic, and it's pulled off well. It's a very thin layer of Dungeons and Dragons theming on top of this game, but it works for those who like Dungeons and Dragons, and it'll also work for people that like this type of game. Like I said during the review, I have friends who've got their partners to play this game, so that's not bad at all. I did forget during the review to say some quests actually stay face up. They are plot quests and they give you special abilities during the game. So there we go, Lords of Waterdeep, a very good game. If you don't own this in your collection of games, I'd suggest maybe you should go and buy it. So that's it. Thanks for watching this review, and I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to more reviews soon.